Hello and welcome to this podcast. We don't know what it's going to be called, so this is our first one. And being as it's a couple of days till Christmas Day, we're going to focus on just Christmas and just talk about Christmas and see where we go, really, I guess.
Yeah. So for the listeners, my name's Kieran.
I'm Michael.
And I'm David. Together we are...
The unknown. To be decided.
Yeah.
Insert cool name here.
Yeah.
Oh, we will happily take suggestions if anyone does listen.
So that'll be Mum.
Yeah.
Dad.
The throwouts.
Okay, so Christmas then. The obvious thing about Christmas that I would that we kind of, before we kicked off, were sort of discussing is the commercialization, whatever the term is. And you were saying, Kieran, actually you enjoy all the razzmatazz.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I mean, I'm very aware of the fact that it is commercial and people are profiting off of people like me. But for me, it's one time of year where you just spoil yourself, have a bit of a laugh, a bit of time off work, and it's nothing to do with the original, or supposedly the original meaning of Christmas, but for me it's a time off and a time to enjoy it and spend a bit of money and get a bit drunk. In its very raw form.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sort of on the same wavelength. Although for me, growing up, Christmas was really, really about family. My grandparents were mega on Christmas, and we didn't get a lot when I was a kid. Certainly enough, and I certainly didn't go without or anything like that. Lots of prezzies, it was fine, but not too much. My grandparents didn't like the idea of like buckets of presents. They thought that was not a good thing. So, 2 or 3 presents. So for me, that's what Christmas used to sum up, was all about the family and getting together, getting the family together. Now it's a little bit different for me. Now it's like you. It's just
it's
kind
just
of
an excuse.
It's good to have a few days off, and it's good to have some really good food. I mean, for me, the food is a major part of Christmas.
Well, I suppose the listeners don't know that Mike and David are brothers, German background, so food, I imagine, is the central point of the
focus. And the other thing in Germany, I don't know how, not a lot of people over here seem to know this, the other thing in Germany is that the real big focal point of Christmas is Christmas Eve. That's when it all happens. That's when generally you have a really nice big buffet. All the potato salads and the herring salads and all the lovely different meats, and it's also, and I really like this concept, is that it's when you get your presents, and the way it works is that, so instead of Father Christmas coming in the middle of the night, what you do in Germany is a member of the family takes the kids out to go and look for Father Christmas, and you actually go off and you hunt for him. and that is really good fun, actually, because I've been both. I've been the kid being taken out, and I've also taken the kids out.
You've been the hunted.
Exactly. I have been Father Christmas. And what I really like about it is you can really play on a kid's what I'm looking for, imagination. Look at that! Any little thing in the sky, you can point it out to them. If you live in the countryside and you're walking out in a sort of, you can point out, look at those hoof marks. They could have been reindeer and all this sort of, and it's great fun. Of course, by the time you come back, Father Christmas has been, and all the presents are under the tree, and it's just so much fun. It's really good.
Yeah. For me, that really made it a magical experience. Like, as a kid, that really convinced me big time that it was all really happening.
It's more of an event. It sounds anyway. You're more enthralled in the whole thing because it's a couple of days rather than one day.
And that also is more what I feel like Christmas is about as well. Is bringing in a bit of magic to the house. With all the decorations, it just makes the house feel a bit more.
Like the Coca-Cola truck.
Yeah, that's magic. That is magic in its purest form. Christmas is starting when you see that big red truck coming over the hills.
Oh, you see now here's what I don't like about Christmas.
Yeah, the commercial is painstakingly obvious for people who are aware of what's going on that you're being exploited. Coke is a big advocate of that. I don't really know if they might have even invented Santa, which is up for debate. There you go.
It's thought that they invented the current incarnation of him.
Yeah.
Which the big rotund man with the white beard and the red jacket, whereas before he was green, I think. Before.
Yeah, loads of colours.
He's been various, hasn't he?
I'd like to say I wasn't affected, but I'm currently drinking a glass of Coke. So
glass of Coke with
amaretto. Yeah, this is what Christmas is about. Getting merry. Smashed quotations. But yeah, no, I mean, the whole magical element was certainly missing from me growing up. I think because you guys have a German background, I think I don't want to speak on behalf of everyone else, but I have a Catholic background, so it's originally it's all about Jesus, apparently. But for us growing up, it was certainly the presents, and that's just all it was. It was all about the gifts growing up. It was amazing.
Oh, crikey, there's this time of year where people just give us a load of crap.
Yeah. Oh, can't wait.
But what did you do at school? You must have been, especially with the sort of, did you go to a Catholic school?
I went to a Church of England school, but more or less the same. Without getting into the ins and outs, it's more or less the same, yeah.
I mean, I went to CV, and it was quite...
I mean, they try and drill it into you that it's a religious thing, don't they? But it doesn't faze you. You don't care about that. You want your bike.
Presents. But I remember one year my parents giving me a choice of either having a normal BMX and then a few other presents, because I was very lucky.
Right.
Or I could have had the super duper bike.
But nothing.
That with nothing else, but the bike had like... I can't even remember what it had on it. It was like this cream bike and it had a centre panel that you could... I don't know what it did. Maybe it measured...
Made noises.
Yeah, maybe it made noises and measured like how far you'd ridden or something like that. I can't remember. It spoke to you as well. It was like, bearing in mind we're going back to the mid-80s, late 80s. So, it was... top of the... That's where AI started, guys. And what do you think I decided to go with?
You went for the super duper bike. No, you didn't.
You went for the normal BMX.
I went for the normal BMX with the other stuff, and then spent the next year regretting it.
Why did all the other kids have the super bike?
No, I just kept thinking, but what if I had this super bike? I mean, I really enjoyed the fact that I had this BMX and I had these other toys. It was Mask. I don't know if you guys...
The Mask?
Well, no. Mask as in...
Oh, God, here we go.
MASK. What was it? It was definitely...
Mask Crusaders.
Yeah, but it was definitely a backronym, because Mask sounds cool,
yeah.
But what it actually stood for was
Wasn't
stupid.
Right.
Men at school.
Kicking
with
ass.
kids.
Merry Christmas. So would you say that was your favourite... What was your favourite Christmas present then? If I was to put you on the spot.
Oh my god.
I think that'd be quite an interesting thing. It might also... I think mine was a Scalextrics to get the ball rolling. I got a big Scalextrics as a kid, and I won't forget it. It was massive. It spanned the whole living room, and I tormented my parents for the next couple of weeks, ramming cars into their legs whilst they're trying to cook, setting up jumps.
Yeah, I can't. I'm too old to remember back that far.
I imagine it would have been the superbike.
Yeah. I can't remember because I get my Christmas and birthday presents.
Me too. That's my biggest problem.
Mixed up sometimes.
Probably even the superbike thing. I've probably got mixed up with the birthday. I suppose.
Like that massive Harry Potter thing that you got me that year. That Quidditch set. It was like a Scalextrics. But with Harry Potter characters on brooms. It was huge, wasn't it? Mental.
That was back when toys. That's when toys stopped being toys. So Christmas now is like iPads and stuff.
Actually, like PlayStation 2. Got it when we were at one of your pubs. That's hands down one of my favourite Christmas presents.
One of my faves was my remote controlled Knight Rider car.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Did it have working light on the front?
This was state of the art. And it was really...
Was this 80s that you got?
This was 80s, yeah.
So did it have... I guarantee it had a voice thing.
Yeah.
So like 5 phrases or...
Something like that, yeah. And I mean, it really accelerated as well. I mean, Can you remember Moody's?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do you remember the long corridor up the house?
Mhm.
And there was a step halfway through, and I used to jump off the step. It was really good. There was another one that was really good, and that was the first ever quasar type.
Oh,
So it was a
right.
light, but you put a little clip on your belt, and then you had a light gun, and you chased each other around, and you only had so many lives. That was good fun. That was good. I remember chasing Dad around the woods.
Yeah, I mean, food is another thing. Can't wait for food. I'm already excited for food.
Yeah, food. What do you guys, as a traditional?
Very traditional. So turkey, sprouts. We're basically the bog standard basic English Christmas. Is what we have. Lots of sandwiches for the next week afterwards. Again, one of my favourite bits of Christmas.
Yeah. The leftovers is like the big turkey curry, for example.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not quite looking so much forward to it this year because I am cooking. So
yeah, short straw. I've not had to do that yet. So.
Yeah, we're doing a turkey and a gammon. So
That's
I'm going to honey roast it.
So is there any German food that's like different on Christmas, or is it more or less the same?
Well, on Christmas Day they tend to have goose,
Okay.
and wow,
Yeah.
that is. If you haven't had goose, you've got to have goose. I mean, that is lovely.
Yeah. I think
Really fatty meat.
Yeah, a lot of that all comes from the Lutheran side of Germany as well, because when they had the Lutheran Christian sort of reformation in Germany back in like 1500s, something like that, that's where a lot of the modern like sort of Christmas traditions kind of come from, like the tree and all that kind of stuff, because that was originally...
Wasn't that a gift from Norway or something?
Oh, for Trafalgar.
Oh, is that what that was?
So that
okay.
was something to do with us winning the Battle of Trafalgar, and then Norway gave it, or maybe it's the First World War or something. I don't
So
know.
they were just like, here's a tree. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah.
Enjoy Christmas.
Nice. Well done.
Good war.
Good.
Good
Have a
war,
tree.
everyone.
Have a tree.
Have a tree.
I don't know.
Merry Christmas.
So-
It was going to be a
Citation
bunch of flowers, but we thought that wasn't enough, so we went for a whole tree.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, thank you, Norway.
anyway, yeah, but something to do with Romans. Saturnalia was the festival for worshipping Saturn, which landed on like the 17th of December or something like that, and you brought in spruce boughs into the house to, get rid of the spirits and all that kind of
So
stuff.
Christmas is a whole other thing in mainland Europe. So
Yeah.
it literally doesn't mean a lot here in that regard. Like, haven't you got Bauschnickel? Is that Germany or is that Holland?
Well, I think the German you're talking about the creepy.
The guy with the sticks who hits children.
Who hits children.
You mean?
Is it Bauschnickel?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of them.
Citation
Like, there's
citation needed
There's
for
quite a
most
few of those. You've got Schwarzpeter.
Yes.
Black
Peter.
Peter.
Yeah, that's not his sidekick.
That comes from when the Moors invaded southern Europe,
Right.
and so then the threat to children became the Moors will come and take you away.
So be good.
So be good. That's
Right.
where Schwarzpeter comes from, and then you've got the Krampus,
Right.
which is comes
Devil-like.
from he comes from like the Alpine areas of Germany.
But didn't he go round with Father Christmas?
Yeah. Well, no, not
Or St. Nicholas.
St. Nicholas on the
And
5th.
so he would go around, and if you were good, you got presents. If you were bad,
The Krampus took you.
So that's where
basically.
yeah.
do you think that's where we get Santa from? Our version of Santa?
Probably.
Because Bauschnickel sounds like an older tradition. Or
I mean, St. Nick was German, wasn't it? I mean, that was the
I
Nicolaus.
think
No
so.
idea.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Again, probably Lutheran. Like 1500s. I mean, before. I mean, like when you're talking proper, like ancient, like well, not ancient, not literally ancient, but sort of Saxon and stuff like that, and Norse. It was Woden or Odin. He was the Yule father. Who came to Earth dressed in like an old man. Like,
You mean Thor's dad?
yes, that's the one.
Yeah, I know him.
Thor's pappy.
See, I know so little. When you said Yule, I went immediately to
Yeah.
cake,
So yeah, exactly.
and I'm now hungry again. So
Yeah.
And now you're thinking about locks.
yeah,
Yule
Yule
logs.
logs. Yeah.
Delicious.
Bit of cream.
Chocolatey cake.
Oh yes. A lot of these podcasts are going to end up going into food.
Yeah, all of them.
Or-
So yeah, it's a big old thing.
Mm.
Like, I mean, Yule really, as as Germanic people, what we should really be celebrating if we were going to celebrate anything. But no. I mean, I think, to be fair, I think our German side of our family was fairly religious.
Yeah, Catholic, obviously. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, Nan got me christened against Mum and Dad's better judgment. Mum and Dad wanted me to choose for myself when I was old enough to do so. Obviously, traditionally in this country, we tend to get christened at about as a baby.
Yeah.
I was at 6 when my Nan finally decided she'd had enough of the fact that I hadn't been christened. So when I was visiting this one time, she arranged it.
Oh.
And then phoned
So you
Mum
had
and
a
Dad.
secret christening?
Well, not a secret. She just phoned and Dad said, "It's christening's on Sunday. Come on up." And I mean, that's, my Nan was, I guess, stereotypically German in that that's the way she did things. It was very
efficient.
I'm doing this and like it or lump it.
Oh, that's good. I like the idea that you were snuck away for a christening, but not really snuck away.
Yeah.
Told.
So who is this Belschnickel?
Belschnickel, yeah, I don't know much about him. I think he's.
I must admit, I only know of this being Belschnickel because of The Office, the American Office. A character called Dwight Schrute.
Yeah.
He comes in as Belschnickel and hits all the office workers with his stick.
Oh.
And says they must behave, otherwise they don't get the gift. And then his cousin walks in with blackface playing Schwartz.
Black Pete.
Black Pete.
Yeah.
Schwarzfeder.
Depending where you're from.
Belschnickel is a crotchety, fur-clad Christmas gift-bringer figure in the folklore of the Palatinate region.
Southwestern Germany, so that's why we've never heard of him.
Along the Rhine, yes, because our family are mid to north.
Central-ish, west, north.
Yeah, up there somewhere.
Saxony, lower.
Baden-Württemberg, or something like that.
Yeah.
Odenwald. Yeah, so the food side of things, I mean, obviously that's something that in Germany, like I say, on Christmas Day, it tends to be goose with dumplings and red cabbage.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds basic, but so good, so good. But it's the evening, the night before, on Christmas Eve, where the real sort of all these delicious hams and cheeses and beautiful breads and salads, and I mean the herring salad that they make. I mean, my Nan's recipe, which has I think has Mum's made it a few times, hasn't she?
Mm-hmm.
It's just if I said to you beetroots and herring, you'd think
not up my street, no.
But my God, in this salad mix, it's just something else. It's just
it is quite amazing. I like and obviously the sausages. I mean, not what you expect. I mean, I'm talking Metwurst, which is a raw, spreadable
Smoked,
sausage.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Like a pate.
Or cured, and pates. Yeah. It's like a very coarse though. If you're thinking about pate, it's like,
harder to spread.
Yeah.
But it looks raw.
Yeah.
It's like raw diced meat, but very finely diced, but with onions and stuff in it. And oh God, yum.
So I don't really, in terms of a traditional Christmas, or what Christmas should be, I wouldn't know where to start. What would be a proper going to church? I imagine.
Yeah.
But again, it's something I do, but only because the pub closes between 12 and 1 on Christmas Eve in the morning. So
I guess it would be morning mass on Christmas Day. Yeah.
So what we do is we go to our local pub Christmas Eve. We're there till midnight. It then closes for mass, and they will return. So we then go to mass, just so that we can go back to the pub afterwards.
Right.
But so it looks as though that's a tradition that they go to the pub, to the church.
Yeah.
It's traditional to go to the pub on Christmas Day, and it's to celebrate the birth of Jesus.
Yeah.
Did you have to guess that?
Well, because isn't there controversy as whether or not he was born on that day?
Well, if there's controversy, it's whether he existed.
There's a lot. I think that's a whole other podcast.
But yeah, I think they actually say that somebody called Jesus was born July time or something like that.
Something like that.
Right.
It's not, obviously, we don't have any idea. But,
oh, so the presumption is that this is to celebrate the birth.
They moved. They basically, I think they put it on there because it landed perfectly with 2 pagan festivals,
Okay.
which they obviously wanted to convert as many people as possible. So putting your festivals in and around theirs, like the winter solstice was 21st yesterday. So, and like I say, that the Saxon Mother's Night or whatever it was on like the 5th of January or something like that. So they were trying to
get it in there, or make like a season.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So like Glastonbury. Reading.
Yeah. That sort of down
get all the big acts in at the same time.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
I suppose back in the day, it might have been a bit like that.
Well, yeah.
They were planning festivals, so it was a bit right. We need to make sure that it's
a celebration,
and we don't want to clash with this one, but we want it to be in the
make sure we have enough mead available for the evening.
Enough wenches.
Yeah, I'd get behind a proper pagan Christmas.
What I was going to say earlier, when you were talking about you going to CV school and I went to CV school.
Oh yeah.
I did find I found this any time I went to church, and probably you're going to say again that this is a whole other podcast, but it felt very brainwashing. There was lots of repeating the same phrases over and over, and you had to repeat after the vicar, and I found it so kind of, I mean, maybe not at the time, and perhaps I didn't think that at the time, I can't really remember, but certainly later years I looked back on it and thought, wow, that was...
It really it's a set routine as well, isn't it? Your school's probably the same. Was hymn in the morning in assembly, pray before lunch.
Yeah.
Anytime there was any sort of congregation, there'd be a hymn done. And I suppose to keep it on the Christmas topic, it's exactly the same. They drill into you at school and in church that's why you're celebrating Christmas. It's not all about presents, it's about religion.
Yeah, how many times has a head teacher had to say that?
It's not all about the presents. Yeah. Remember, there's your family, which is it's a good message, but they are really trying to drill in the fact that it's almost like, I call it Catholic guilt because our family are Catholic, but I suppose it's the same in a CV school.
Pretty much. I mean, I'm trying to think back as to what we had. Oh, one thing I loved about Christmas time in primary school, school disco, and they always played Ghostbusters. I don't know, but this was...
We didn't have a school disco.
Oh, what?
No.
Oh,
you went to the same school.
I went to the same school and we did not have a school disco.
Years later.
Primary school, though.
Yeah.
Went to Roud, didn't you? Yeah. So didn't you have anything at Roud?
Not disco.
We had like a, I don't know, we call it a fair. We had a Christmas fair where you have stalls and games and stuff, but not a disco.
We sold like cupcakes and stuff.
Yeah, sold cupcakes. A lucky dip.
We didn't have a disco at secondary, but primary school we had that's good, and they always played the same stuff. So you had Noddy Holder doing that one, the one, and then there was the Ghostbusters theme tune.
Oh, nice.
Just to point out, I'm significantly older than these two guys, so there is a bit of a generational gap. But maybe we were allowed to get away with more. Maybe they just knew with you lot. It's like
there's no point.
There's no point. They're going to wreck the place.
Yeah, potentially.
But we never did anything like that in Lavington either. Really, like towards the end of the year, we'd have like.
It was a school assembly.
Stay in your form rooms and watch films. Stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
like,
we did the film thing.
Yeah. And the school assembly was always a good laugh because we basically got to bunk out of lessons and arrange it.
And basically
set amps up and stuff.
Yeah, be the roadies for our mates' bands. Essentially.
Yeah, we weren't talented enough to be in the assembly. So.
Just to prove how old I am, when we used to get excited when the teacher would wheel in
the overhead
box TV that had a video.
Yeah, VHS player. We probably still had the same one when I was at school.
Possibly.
It was a big brown, like veneered box.
Yeah.
School was definitely the best time for Christmas, wasn't it? You could tell that the teachers even were caring less about the lesson structure.
Yeah.
Like our RE teacher used to wheel in a TV, didn't she, with a VCR, and put
yes.
Vicar of Dibley on for the last week.
Yeah, Miss Hinder.
Yeah, what a lesson that was. Vicar of Dibley every year,
You can learn a lot from Dawn Frank.
But it has to remain on topic. It had to
Yeah.
remain religious. But it was, school was the best time, knowing it was all coming to a close and starting a lot of food again. Primary school, we had a fair, so it was like Lucky Dips, school choir. I got thrown out of our Christmas fair. That's an anecdote. So when I was in secondary school, in year 9, I got thrown out of my primary school Christmas fair.
Oh.
So we were at the back of the assembly hall and we were waving to the kids doing the play at the front, and one of the kids in the front row continuously waved back.
Oh,
massive
goodness.
grin.
Yeah.
Obviously it's being filmed and they couldn't locate who was waving. So
Right.
me and my friend Dan were waving, and every time we saw the teacher turn around, hand down, like act natural. And then we eventually got sussed out by the squad and thrown out. So yeah, getting
Well,
kicked out.
to be fair, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So
No. I have worse stories. But this is episode 1. We got to keep them.
we have to save something.
Yeah.
Okay.
You keep it tame for the start.
So, back to the topic of commercialism. I agree though about the whole like Coca-Cola truck and all that kind of thing. That's a bit much,
Just winds me
isn't
up.
it? Yeah.
It's like
It's obvious as well.
And the
so-
adverts, like John Lewis adverts and all that sort of stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah,
people have
that's a good
been
one.
so indoctrinated
Yeah.
that they have to watch them
this
every
is
year.
something to- My wife's sister, who both of you I think have met.
Mhm.
Not going to mention any names,
No.
but she absolutely goes wild for both, for those commercials to come out
Yeah.
and for the Coca-Cola truck.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that shit winds me up. I mean,
I none of them stick in the memory, but obviously I've seen this year's advert, and I don't get it in terms of the hype.
What one?
It's isn't it? I might be wrong, but isn't it the monster under the bed or
Mhm.
something?
I don't know.
And they end up playing, and then I think
I
the
think that's John
monster
Lewis, isn't it?
is that the right one? No? And then I think the monster sacrifices itself.
Like,
At the end.
I don't
I
watch
didn't see that
telly,
bit.
so I don't really know.
I know I've seen the anyway. It's not. I don't understand the message behind it really. It's a bit tacky, but it's like they have to invest. How much do they invest?
Oh,
It's
millions. Yeah, millions.
Jesus.
That money could be better spent at Christmas than on an
Yeah.
advert, I think.
They'd make more of an impact by giving it to charity or
Yeah.
a homeless charity or even if they just employed some people to go out on the streets and give the money to homeless people, literally physically hand out the cash.
Yeah.
You know.
Or even if they bought a few million sleeping bags and stuff like that and handed them out to people on the streets, anything like that.
Yeah. It's the commercial and I suppose I don't know if it's Christmas, but Black Friday is very close to Christmas, and that's
That's
another.
very recent
Yeah, I
thing
was
in this
about to say,
country.
in the UK that's never really been a thing until like a couple of years ago.
And it's still. I mean, in the UK, the worse it gets, isn't it? It's a bit of traffic, and that's about it. There's not really fighting in the stores.
That video.
There's a meme, isn't there? There's a meme out there that's like US versus UK, and it shows these guys in the US literally beating the crap out of each other to get to things.
Yeah.
And then us, orderly queue.
Excuse me.
Security guard comes out with some mince pies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's us. That sums us up. That really does.
But it's just a way of companies lowering the price in quotations to get people
raising the price by 20% in November and then lowering it by 10% in December.
I'll get my Christmas presents cheap
Yeah.
now, and then the prices go lower in January anyway.
Yeah, January sales, of course,
Yeah.
when they're the normal price.
Yeah, when they go back to normal. Yeah.
So it is very commercial, but
But then, of course, we do live in a capitalist country, and therefore a lot of people would argue that for our economy to survive, that's the kind of thing we have to do.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's not the best way, but it's the only way that we function that we know of at the moment.
Yeah.
It's there are better ways, and I've bored you guys to death, I think, with
Again,
ways that
a
I've
whole
other
podcast.
podcast, with ways that I think things could work. But yeah, like you say, it's
not something you could uplift either really straight away. It's just
No.
it's just a way of functioning. I'm not totally against it. What frustrates me is being aware of the commercialism, but still being a sucker for it.
we all are to a degree.
Yeah.
You have to be to a
Yeah.
degree.
So
You
I'll
can't
look at
really
that.
survive
That's
unless you go
rubbish.
off grid.
Yeah.
And it's
But it's like, oh, that's rubbish. Look, they're obviously doing that to make money. And then
But I want it.
But I want that other thing. Yeah.
They're obviously doing that to try and get money out of me. How many shall I order?
Yeah, how much is it?
But that, again, that's typically British as well, isn't it?
I mean, it'd be quite interesting to... maybe we should talk about this off the podcast, but maybe another podcast idea could be to have an American or somebody come on and tell us what's wrong with us, and vice versa. It'd be interesting to hear an American's opinion on the British and vice versa, I think. Or, especially when it comes to things like Christmas.
Yeah, or anyone.
Well, anyone that isn't
from a different...
From any different culture,
Yeah. Or someone who doesn't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
And what they think about Christmas. I suppose people who don't celebrate Christmas must think we're mad.
Well, yeah.
Like,
absolutely. I mean, spending massive amounts of money on just, well, essentially tapped.
Yeah.
You know. Apart from the food, obviously. I mean,
that's an essential.
Let's just get that out right now.
That's not tapped. That's essential. You can't get through December/January without gluttonous behaviour.
Exactly.
You know, regardless of Christmas. If they took Christmas away tomorrow, we would still be required to.
Yeah, I don't think they could cancel Christmas. That'd be interesting. The threat's always been
there. Yeah. The threat has been thrown out there many times.
Santa won't be coming this year if you don't cut it out.
Okay, here's a question for you. Can you remember how you stopped believing in Santa?
Well, that's a very good question. I don't know if it was a sudden realisation. I think I started doubting and then eventually just accepted that it wasn't. It was probably a radio DJ or something silly like that. But yeah, no, it wasn't. It was later than you'd think.
That's for me too.
Yeah, I think I was probably at an age where I shouldn't have been believing, but I was still like sceptical of whether or not he was there.
I was...
Sorry for any younger listeners.
About 8, I think, at school, and was told that Father Christmas didn't exist. But even after that, for quite a while, I was still like, from what I've seen, I know he exists.
I blame this on our German... I blame this on the Christmas Eve looking for Santa.
Absolutely.
Because it is so convincing. Yeah. I swear to God, I saw Father Christmas
with me.
To this day.
I think it was you actually who took me and Stuart out this night when we saw.
Stuart's our brother, by the way. Other brother.
Yeah, when we saw the light in Mum and Dad's bedroom.
Yep.
You can see our Mum and Dad's bedroom window from our road, and as we were walking back to the house, there was a big, massive red light in their room. Just like you couldn't see the actual source of the light from the street. But it was like up across the window and up into the ceiling. And we were like, oh my God, that must be him. It must be him. So we came back into the house and the presents were obviously there and everything. And we were like, we saw a light over. And they were like, what are you talking about?
I missed that detail. So when you go out, the presents are then put under the tree.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So when you get back from looking for Father Christmas, he's been.
That's very convincing. Yeah, I can see why that would work.
And I'm going to, full disclosure, I was nearly 11 when I finally went, all right, he's not real, and put it to bed. But getting to that point, like you, I had my doubts, but I just did not want to stop believing.
So what was the final nail in the coffin?
The final nail in the coffin was having taken Mike and Stuart out myself. Sorry, went with my dad. So Dad was there. We were at our grandparents. We went out walking, looking for him. And Dad calls up when we get back. Have you finished? Have you put them out?
Oh.
Because
right.
Mike was too... No, it was Stuart, sorry. Mike wasn't around. So it was Stuart. Stuart was too small to really understand what my dad was talking about.
Oh, and then it just twigged.
And then I was like, well, that's the final...
That's a very bad time to find out
nail.
As well.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It wasn't like... I knew.
But it was like, okay, it's confirmed.
Now it's definite. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't want to not believe.
No.
Like, I love that bit of magic in the place, you know.
Not being able to sleep for the whole night, listening to
Santa. This is the thing, we've never had that.
Oh, because you celebrate early.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose you have it Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Wow.
No.
Well,
I suppose you do in a way. There's a bit of excitement. Tomorrow he's
it's that whole week leading up to Christmas Eve is always a bit.
See, in hindsight, I believed in Christmas, in Santa at this time. But in hindsight, I realised I nearly caught my parents out a couple of times. Because I'd be awake till 2, 3 in the morning and they'd keep checking up on me. Like, if you don't go to sleep, Santa won't come. Won't come. And you go running downstairs, and then you can hear them shuffling and like throwing stuff around. What do you want? Like, go to bed. But that is probably the most excited. I'd probably never emulate that sort of excitement on Christmas Eve. Waiting, not knowing what's going on, going down as a heap of presents. And then it's over by midday.
No time to eat.
Then it's time to eat.
That's the next big present. It's the
meal. Yeah.
The big thing that was difficult with our, I don't know whether you experienced this, Mike, but was kids would say, "But I got my presents when I woke up in the morning," and I'd be like, "Well, I got mine the night before." Why did Father Christmas come to you early?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm special.
I never had that sort of
conversation.
From what I remember, anyway.
Yeah. But as kids, when you're little, you just shrug your shoulders and go on and carry on, don't you? It's like, don't know.
Well, the adults said it's true, so.
Well, exactly.
It must be.
The other kids must have been envious of Santa coming to you early.
Yeah.
Cause some friction. I know I would have been. I would have kicked off.
Yeah.
Where is he?
Yeah.
Give me his number.
There's this kid at my school. He gets his present on Christmas Eve.
Whenever you got a present, so if you and your friend get a similar present, but theirs is slightly better, that was always the worst, I found. So you get like a new bike, but then your friend gets a bike with stunt pegs. Or a super bike.
Yeah. Or one more gear.
One more extra gear.
Yeah.
Oh, don't even go.
21 speed.
Yeah.
Mine's 22.
Mine's all disc brakes. Oh, God, here we go. Or you get the slightly wrong present. Like a Gran gets you a PS1 instead of a PS2.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. No batteries in the toy.
Yeah, well, actually, I had a good experience with getting slightly the wrong present, actually. Because I picked this, like, set out of a catalogue one year. And it was like a sort of an M16 type thing with like grenades and a little knife, all that sort of stuff. But Mum and Dad couldn't get it for whatever reason, so they got me a similar set, but it was like actually a Lost in Space, like science fiction gun set that like came apart and stuff. And I way preferred that. It was so much better than the other set because like you had a little scope that you could take off and other bits, and it was from the film as well. Like, so
I seem to remember this. I don't know why.
Toys.
Did it break down into a pistol?
Yeah, into a pistol.
Yeah.
And you could put the double barrel on the end.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was so good. That was a Christmas present. And I wasn't meant to get that one. I asked for a different one, but I got that one and I way preferred it.
What was the go-to Christmas present
in my day?
In your day, what was everyone striving for?
Ooh, crikey!
If you didn't get one of those, Santa doesn't love you.
There was. Yeah. Well, for us, it was like Star Wars was still big.
Okay.
From the 70s going into the 80s, there was all the little Star Wars figurines, and I mean, I had so much of that stuff. I had a big AT-AT, and I had all the stuff. What else was it? Oh, He-Man. He-Man was big.
Yeah, you spoke to me about He-Man
All
before.
of those.
So was it a sword?
Well, the swords, but you could get again all the figurines. That sort of stuff was really big. Now I notice that now figurines are not really.
Toys aren't really a thing.
No. Figurines are more of a collector's thing now.
It's all virtual now, isn't it? Everything's on your iPad or.
Yeah, it was very much Action Man.
Yes, Action Man was big for me.
Army, like superhero toys. I imagine was the same for you. Like Spider-Man figurines and things were big for me.
Power Rangers.
Actually, I had a Power Rangers fancy dress thing.
Oh yeah, Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Power Rangers was like Stu's sort of.
Yeah, well, yeah. The thing with certainly Mighty Morphin Power Rangers carried on into our era, and then just as we were leaving primary school, it started all
the weird
change,
stuff,
like Super Ninja Force.
It's funny. Me and David in the office. So again, people who are listening, if there is anyone out there, we all three of us work together. So me and David were debating Power Rangers in the office.
Oh right.
And I was saying how because David thought there was only sort of one set because it was a bit after David's time.
Yeah.
So. It was like Dino Force.
Yeah, there was so many weird ones.
And I think it's still going.
It is, yeah.
It's been bought by 3 different studios.
Or whatever,
yeah. Power Rangers was big.
Power Rangers was big. And, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out again, so they restarted it when we were young. And also He-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a new Adventures of, wasn't there?
Well, that's the thing though. They were crafty. They just called it again He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and I actually really liked that when I was a kid. Really enjoyed the new He-Man. That was good. And I think the Men at Arms from the one that I watched was better than the old ones.
What, than the original
Yeah.
one? I struggle to believe that.
Can't weigh in, I'm afraid. I have no idea. I mean, Pokemon cards was big.
Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon.
All
Yeah.
card collection, generally. Top Trumps.
Yeah. Oh, I hated Top Trumps.
Yeah, the random stat game.
Yeah.
Random figures
And as
game.
soon as you knew the deck, that was it.
Yeah, it's game over.
But you just, with something like that, there's absolutely no skill required.
No,
It's
you
sheer
just-
luck.
You just
Yeah,
go,
exactly.
oh, I've got this card. So then the other person hands you their card because they know that the stat is too high to beat.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pointless.
Ferrari versus Peugeot. Acceleration.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peugeot it is.
That's the thing is, well, I had quite a few Top Trump sets at the time. I had like Battleships and Lord of the Rings was
Dinosaurs.
a good one. Dinosaurs,
Yeah.
supercars.
Do you remember you were pretty obsessed with dinosaurs when you were a
Yeah,
kid?
I wanted to be a paleontologist when I was a
I
kid.
thought you were going to say I wanted to be a stegosaurus.
Yeah.
So I was
I
hoping.
I wanted to be a dinosaur.
You were basically Ross from Friends when you were a kid.
Pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so toys. I don't know any new. I don't know what kids would be getting now, other than iPads and.
Yeah, Amy's
Well, yeah.
got a
VR sets.
laptop this year.
Our
Really?
niece has got a laptop.
How
How-
old is he?
how old is your niece?
11?
11, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting a laptop,
Yeah. Thomas, though, he's big into his diggers,
Yeah.
tractors,
farm stuff.
helicopters, anything.
Watches it on his
construction.
iPad all the time.
Yes, that sadly is actually true.
yeah.
Excuse me, Uncle. Me and my friend are in a conference call.
Yeah.
And we're
Could you keep
watching.
it down a bit?
Yeah, we're watching Diggers.
Like Stewie from My
Yeah.
Family.
I remember my first mobile phone I got for Christmas.
My
was a
first,
Nokia.
Yeah, my first
The
mobile
Nokia.
phone was a present from David.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, a
Was
Siemens,
Oh, fancy.
German.
I got the classic Nokia. What is it? The
I don't know.
3410 or something.
yeah, the brick.
That
phone.
one.
That
Yeah.
phone. Played Snake on it.
Yeah.
Texted my one friend who also had a phone. Those are the days.
See, I was like 19, maybe older before I had my first. Because they didn't really
I think I was 12.
exist much before then. Or
Yeah.
if they did, they were so bloody expensive.
Yeah, I remember Dad's one of his first mobile phones was about the size of the house phone.
Well, yeah. yeah.
Big aerial on it.
Yeah,
Mm.
it was literally a brick.
With the power supply you had to put
Yeah.
in a rucksack.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
it was for one of his jobs. I can't remember why they gave it to him, but yeah, you'd moved out by that time, I think.
Christmas is in the news for the wrong reasons at the moment. I don't know if there's much to say on it, but Trump's said, I don't know if you've seen, he said he's bringing Christmas back, making Christmas great again, if you like.
Oh yeah,
Because he's now saying Merry Christmas, and he thinks that's something to go around boasting about.
all right.
Rather
so
than
rather
saying
than happy
happy
holidays
holidays
or whatever.
Season's greetings. He's saying, well, Merry Christmas is back.
So he's making a
point.
He's making a massive point.
political
Yeah.
point.
Saying, and it's very much in with his right-wing sensibilities in that he wants it to be America's way or no other way. I don't know if there's much to say on that matter other than I kind of agree. There's nothing wrong with saying Merry Christmas,
No.
I don't think.
But I mean,
But just not make a point of it.
certainly for us three, you'd say Merry Christmas because it was how you were brought up.
Yeah,
Right.
we are in rural England.
You're brought up with Christmas being the holiday at the moment. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with saying Merry Christmas to someone.
No.
As long as you're not making a political statement out of it.
I think that's the issue, isn't it? Is that he's made a point of it.
Yeah.
But does anybody actually have a problem with you saying Merry Christmas? I mean, he's obviously referring to his favourite target group, which I think is Muslims and anybody that. And by trying to say, well, fine, you don't celebrate it, but it's our culture, and therefore we should be allowed to say it. And I agree with that.
Yeah,
but
it's not something that the president should be coming out and making a
Yeah.
massive point of.
well, I mean, that's just Trump continuously, isn't
Exactly.
it? I mean, he just is constantly doing things that the president shouldn't be doing. He shouldn't even be on fucking Twitter. The guy, I just want to, yeah.
Shall we just make Trump another podcast?
We could.
Just a
We could
whole
quite
podcast
easily.
on Trump.
We should just literally go through every tweet he's
Yeah,
ever
and
written.
then Theresa May after that.
Yeah.
Especially during our Season's Greetings podcast.
Yeah. Do.
Whoa, careful. You might get done. Copyright.
Copyright.
We
Oh,
wish you
no.
a happy holiday. Yeah, that's good.
No, I have absolutely... Well, I don't think anybody here has anything against anybody from any country wanting to come here and take part in our community. We're very lucky that I think the majority of this country, although recently I've started to wonder, share the opinion that it's great to have a diverse, multicultural community.
Yeah, definitely.
But I wouldn't tell them not to celebrate one of their cultural...
No, and I don't think they'd expect
And
that either.
I don't think anybody...
No.
does.
I mean, if you said Merry Christmas to somebody here who didn't celebrate it, they wouldn't get offended. They wouldn't kick off about it. But it's the fact that he's gone out of his way to make a point of it. And it might be different over there. I don't know. But people just celebrate Christmas here generally anyway, I think.
Talking of Merry Bloody Christmas, when I was in the supermarket earlier, I walked past somebody and this guy, shout out to Guy in Asda, West Swindon Asda.
He's going crazy at home right now.
Yeah.
Oh god, shout out.
He won't go, well, I'm going to hear what I've got to say about him. So, this guy, I walk past and I hear him saying something.
Yeah.
So I turned around and said, oh, pardon? And he was like, you just knocked into me.
Oh.
I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't realise. I genuinely didn't notice this, if I did at all. And I get offended by other people being offended.
Right.
Because
That's
if
British.
somebody, if somebody accidentally does something, then that's, to me, that's not a right for me to be offended by it. It's an accident, therefore it's like, oh, there's plenty of times people knock into me or whatever.
Yeah, they immediately say sorry. Then.
Yeah. Anyway, I could just see from his face that me saying, oh, sorry about that, just wasn't enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I just went to him, I said, well, accidents do happen, mate. And he just looked at me and went, well, there's plenty of room, the aisle's big enough. And I said, yeah, and I've already said to you that I didn't know that I'd knocked into you. Sorry about that. He went, it was fine. And just walked off. And I just like, Merry Christmas.
Not in the Christmas
See,
spirit.
there's a difference between Asda and Lidl's clientele.
Oh.
I was in Lidl the other day.
Michael's opinions on supermarkets do not represent the podcast.
I accidentally knocked into somebody in Lidl the other day, and they said sorry to me.
Well, there we go.
That is very British.
You can't get much better than that, honestly.
European.
And of course, I said sorry immediately back as well. So.
And he had a sorry off.
And yeah, sorry. No, I'm sorry. No, I am sorry. Yeah, well, do you like Lidl? Do you like Aldi as well?
I haven't done Aldi yet, just because there's a Lidl so close.
Yeah. Well, closest to me is an Aldi. So what I really like most is that this is totally off topic.
Oh yeah, well,
Is their it's the freshness of their veg and stuff. It just seems to be so. I don't know why. It probably all comes from the same place, but it seems to be so much fresher and nicer than the stuff you get in other.
and if they would like to sponsor us,
their meat also it happens to be fantastic.
Lamborghini are a good company.
So, back to topic in hand, which I think was Christmas.
It was. Oh right.
Yeah. We've kind of covered the whole commercialism. None of us are a massive fan of it, but we all kind of accept it.
Yeah.
Kieran's a fan.
I'm a big fan. I'm an advocate.
But I mean, what else are we going to cover? We've kind of slightly covered the history.
I think we should talk about food.
What more?
Oh, right. Sorry.
So, turkey.
Yeah, turkey.
Why turkey?
One, why turkey, and two, why only at Christmas? I actually really quite like turkey.
Yeah.
But any other time of the year, and it's like, why is he eating turkey? It's not Christmas.
It's the Christmas, but I don't know. Is there a reason?
I have no idea.
There probably is.
This would need googling.
Again, well, yeah, I mean, like you say, goose in Germany. I've only ever had goose once, and it was bloody delicious. But I guess it does make sense in the sense you're bringing everybody over to one place to eat. So one massive bird.
Yeah, maybe that's what
makes sense.
Do you want to hear a cardinal sin? My brother has ketchup with his Christmas dinner.
Oh
yeah,
no.
so a bit of turkey in the ketchup.
No.
and sometimes gravy as well. Yeah, so shout out to my brother.
I mean, is it worse than cranberry sauce?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think so, yeah. I mean, that's one meal you don't have ketchup with.
So here's what Google's got to say. The turkey appeared on Christmas tables in England in the 16th century, and popular history tells of King Henry VIII being the first English monarch to have turkey for Christmas. The pudding course of the British Christmas dinner may often be Christmas pudding, which dates from medieval England.
Christmas pudding, there's something nobody's made comment on yet.
This is going to be really controversial.
You don't like it?
I'm not a big fan.
Neither am I.
Oh!
I love it.
I would definitely scoff it down my face when offered to me, but I don't actually like it that much. It has to have brandy cream for me,
Yeah,
otherwise it's not Christmas pudding.
I agree.
And also Christmas cake, the fruit based. A lot of people don't make it correctly. They don't baste it with
Ends up
rum
being too
or
dry.
anything like that for about a month beforehand, so it ends up being very dry, which I hate. I can't stand dry cake.
I don't know if it's Christmassy or not, but we have Viennetta most Christmases.
I mean,
It's
I
amazing.
love Viennetta,
It's amazing.
but I don't think that's necessarily
It's
Christmassy.
not a Christmas thing.
Oh, it is. We have it every Christmas.
Well, it is
has
for
to
your
be.
family.
Yes, it has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nibbles as well. So Pringles, all the usual. Shout out to all the brands who might sponsor us.
Nibbles hasn't been a thing for us.
Do you not
I
get
don't think
nibbles?
at Christmas because we have the big continental thing on Christmas Eve.
So you don't have the Christmas cupboard thing where you have to ask, can I eat this? Or is it for Christmas?
Not really. I mean, there's there's Lebkuchen and Domino Steiner and bits like that, but they're not like they are for Christmas Eve, and that's it. Like,
After eights or something we always have at Christmas. Is that?
oh really?
Yeah.
That was just
Maybe
I always used to buy Nan after 8 when I went to visit her.
There's nice biscuits as well, butter biscuits. Do you remember
I
those?
think they're Danish, aren't they?
Yeah, actually, they might be.
They are delicious though. I like those.
Really good.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Christmas shop. Sorry, the German shop.
Oh, the German deli.
The German
in
deli.
London. Yeah.
Really good, except that they've run out of stock.
Stuff. Yeah.
Oh, they're very good though.
A week before Christmas is when I ordered it, and they basically had very little left.
Yeah.
Trouble is, I wanted their freshly baked bread, so I couldn't order it too early.
Oh, it wouldn't be freshly baked.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
2 orders next year.
Yeah.
One in sort of November with all the
stuff
food
that
stuff,
can
and
be,
then the bread one.
Perishables
Yeah.
later.
As a side note, David, I am ordering again in January, so if you want anything, better make a list.
It's going to be a monthly thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you'll be ordering from Ireland or China?
Oh. Brilliant.
Will I bring it to the podcast?
Do China celebrate Christmas?
I don't think they do.
No, Japan do. Apparently, they order KFC at Christmas.
Yeah.
Again, I suppose a bit of background. I'm part Irish, English, and weirdly a very small part Chinese, and they don't let me forget it. So
34th or something?
64th.
64th.
Yeah. So my great something was Chinese.
Great something was Chinese.
Yeah. I mean, did they celebrate Christmas? I don't think they do. Do they?
Not
Do
a
they?
clue.
I don't know.
You should know, mate.
Yeah.
Well,
Ask your great.
ask them.
Yeah.
So
Send them an email.
sales. Should we do that now?
Yeah. Get the Ouija board out. That's what you do at a seance, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't do a Chinese accent. We don't need that this early.
Yeah, let's not start
That's also the racial abuse.
quite so early.
Quite so early in the podcast.
Trump's a bastard, isn't he?
Oh no!
I mean, obviously, this is very early on in our podcasting careers, being episode
The
1.
end of our podcast.
Yeah. So, but any sort of pointers or things that we could cover would be appreciated as well.
Staying on topic.
Staying
for
on topic,
example.
Yeah, that's something we.
Or do you prefer that we don't? I mean, this might have been entertaining. I don't know. It's very easy for us to do.
Personally, I prefer the rambling podcasts when I actually listen to them.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Ones without a structure or like a point. We could go either way, I guess.
Yeah.
Where'd the snow go?
Oh, well, we've never had us.
It's been 10 years since we've had snow at Christmas.
I mean, people my age and older always go, there used to be snow at Christmas. Well, I don't think that's quite true. I mean, I can remember a few, but not as many as people always like. I mean, so you just said there was one 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But the way older people talk, it's like, well, every Christmas
every
was...
single Christmas. Yeah. Well, it wasn't that on an episode of one of the Christmas episodes of QI mentioned that actually there hasn't been snow in England on December 24th for like a ridiculous amount of time or something like it's one in every 15 Christmases or something stupid like that.
Well, people our age struggle to think of just snow.
Yeah.
Snowy days, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had a couple this year. Don't think we had any in our region of England last year, did we?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean, this year was unusual.
Yeah, it was.
Because we got quite a few inches.
Well, it's funny you say that. So, in the town that David's based, there was snow, settled snow. In the village I'm based in, 26 miles away.
Yeah.
No, it snowed, but not nearly as much.
Yeah,
So,
and yet just round the corner where I am from Kieran, it did settle.
did it? So
Yeah.
that's 5 miles or something.
Yeah, it's like something like that, 6 miles or something like that, and it snowed a lot for like
It snowed for a day.
8 hours basically.
Yeah. Same.
Heavy snow, but it had rained all night previously, so very little. It started settling towards the end in round,
So
and
we didn't have any.
we got like a dusting.
Yeah, it's funny old country, isn't it? That you can have weather in terms of weather. It's very British. Talking about weather.
Microclimates,
But yeah, it's mental that you can have that.
Because Devizes, which is up the hill, always gets the snow, and we get the frosts because we're in a what they call a frost dip.
Right.
So we get all the super cold frosts, and yet we don't get any of the snow.
I must admit, I quite like that about Christmas. That it's cold. I like cold.
I do too.
And I think Christmas suits the cold. I couldn't imagine celebrating Christmas in Australia or something, but that's how we're raised.
It's funny as well,
but
literally, we were talking to our mum today, and she was going, "Oh, it's going to be mild at Christmas."
But it's true though, isn't
Which
it?
in England means like 8 degrees.
That is mild though.
But not generally speaking, if in October it was -2 and snowing, everybody would be like, "Oh, this is horrible! This is ridiculous." But
apparently the Huts hasn't been getting that much snow this year. They've had to close a couple of the ski resorts and stuff because there just isn't enough snow, which is very rare for the Huts. I mean, like,
and where's that?
Central Germany.
Right.
the Harz Mountains,
Right.
which is where
So it's not just a UK thing then, it's everywhere struggling a bit.
global warming.
No, Trump said that doesn't exist.
Oh yes,
So
that's right.
it can't exist.
If Trump said, therefore, yeah. Do you know? It's funny though. I've flip-flopped on global warming.
Yeah, it's well above our pay.
I have
grade.
several times.
I've because there was a very convincing argument that global warming was engineered. The idea of global warming was engineered for big business and control. And so I have flip-flopped a few times.
So physically engineered or the theory engineered?
Theory engineered.
Right, okay.
Or it's warming up because of what we're doing.
Right, okay.
When in actual fact, it's warming up because that's just what it's doing.
It does, we're in a cycle.
Yeah.
So that's what I used to think. I used to think that it was just a natural cycle of what Earth does, because if you look back, you get hot periods, you get cold periods, and so on and so forth. But I've changed my mind again now, especially being by training an engineer. I tend to follow the scientific community fairly closely, and what they say I tend to agree with, just because
they're paid to do it.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, whereas I don't know, about 3 or 4 years ago, I suppose I was sort of like, oh, this doesn't sound right. This might, because again I was watching stuff like that saying, oh, this has all been made up basically to make us move over to renewables so that they can make money out of it, basically, because that's the thing about renewable energy. It should be free, and it very well could be free, and yet it's not.
yeah. That definitely is a whole other podcast.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot there to talk about. So I mean, one thing, I don't know whether we want to talk about this on the podcast or not, or whether we'll keep this in, but one thing I've found from doing this is there's so many other subjects I actually want to start talking about.
Yeah.
Which normally, if we were just sat here without being recorded, I would just naturally go, "Oh, did you hear about?"
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
I guess. So yeah, we might as well leave this in so they get a bit about us. But normally, us three get together, have a couple of drinks, and debate random topics like we have. We tried to have Christmas as a guide to get us through and structure it a little bit.
We've stuck to it pretty well.
We've had to make ourselves stick to that subject. But basically, the reason we decided to record it is we thought we find it interesting. We enjoy listening to podcasts. Why not put it out there? So as you can tell, we have very strong opinions on different things. They tend to be the similar opinions generally. Yeah. We do end up debating a lot, normally because I've got the wrong end of the stick, or we argue the same
when
point.
When we're drunk, what Kieran does is he argues a point until eventually we realise, or the next day we realise that he meant the same thing.
Yeah.
Just said it in a different way.
Yeah, just have different phrasing, which I'm sure the audience will enjoy. Won't get frustrated at. I think, yeah, we've covered a subject and we naturally would move on, and we might find it'd be better to record a couple in a go. We might naturally move on and we can just split it.
Maybe, yeah.
So we have no idea what form this will be in once it's edited.
10
minutes. But we do appreciate any feedback, I guess. There'll be some sort of way of getting in touch.
Yeah.
I suppose we don't really know where this is going up yet either.
No.
Well, YouTube, I guess we...
Are we going to bother with SoundCloud?
I think iTunes would be good. I listen to mine on there. That's all I know. So
yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously any pointers would be good, any tips. I don't know if this will stay in or if you want it to stay in, but we are planning on, down the line, potentially interviewing people. Because we think it would be more interesting having a different subject matter. We're good at questioning. We're interested in other elements.
Possibly filming.
Shall I say what we've got planned? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, say some subjects that we've got.
So, going forward, a few things we've got planned. We've got another one planned for in between Christmas and New Year, which will be on the topic of artificial intelligence, because it seems to be a real big thing at the moment. There's lots of stuff in the media about AI. We've got planned for the new year, we've got David Icke as a whole subject. So for those of you that don't know who he is, basically David Icke came out in the 80s thinking he was Jesus, and ever since then has gone on to sort of explain that he didn't mean he was Jesus, but he's got lots of very, very sort of interesting theories on the world we live in. The next one is around sexism, sexual harassment and inappropriate behaviour based on what's been in the media lately with the whole Weinstein stuff. We thought we would have a discussion on that, and that might be the end of us. A real interesting one after that in Feb, we've got football, the beautiful game with an ugly underbelly. The reason this is an interesting subject is because Kieran is a big footy fan in a big way.
Yep.
I'm not. And neither am I.
I mean, I say I'm not. I'm probably a little bit more interested in football than you are, Mike, just because I used to play it.
Probably. I mean, I used to play it, but I didn't like it when I was playing it.
Well, you see, that's the difference. I quite enjoyed football, and
I mean, the reason we've done football as well is because it's something I'm very passionate about, and you'll find that throughout the categories we have and subjects will vary between who is most passionate and knows the most.
Yeah.
Just because it's more interesting to have a devil's advocate and a bit of a discussion, because we could just sit here and agree with each other all day on some subjects, which wouldn't be entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I hate Christmas, for example. You know.
Oh, we haven't even got into that yet. How have we gone all this way and not mentioned that? You hate Christmas.
Yeah, can't fucking stand it. We then have our first confirmed interview in late Feb. Yeah, with a chap called Josh Law, who he's a bodybuilder, and something that I'm interested in. He also happens to be my personal trainer, but I really wanted to interview him because I really wanted to find out what it takes to be a bodybuilder. And obviously with him as my personal trainer, it's been really interesting to sort of find out how incredibly strict these guys have to be and what they have to go through to get to this incredible sort of height of fitness and I mean, it's just, it's beyond anything that I've ever.
And the accolades that he has for someone who I've not met, but by the sounds very down to earth and
really nice guy. Yeah, really nice guy, lovely guy. Going into March, we're going to be looking at some UK politics, talking about the current austerity regime we have in this country. We're going to also cover Brexit, dun 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 dun, and we're going to look at a bit of racism to add into the pot there, because in my view, Brexit and racism are sort of
interlinked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We are hoping to have. I probably shouldn't name.
I wouldn't say names, but I'd maybe outline them.
Yeah, we're hoping there's at the gym I go to. There's a very well-known strongman who works out there. He's been Europe's strongest man and come very close to Worlds a few times. Hoping to get him in. We're also going to have a whole session on aliens and UFOs, and really just sort of. There's been some really, really exciting news come out recently, actually, just in the last few days about this whole thing. So that should be really good. And there's also a guy that I know who is very involved in the whole crop circle phenomenon. And I'm surprised I got that word out. And this is going to be sort of April time, and we're coming into that sort of time where the crop circles start appearing. And I'd be really interested talking to him about what he's I think he's been like investigating crop circles for 20 years or something, so it'd be really interesting talking to him about what he's discovered, and whether you sort of believe they're man-made or whatever made them, it's still interesting to see.
Definitely
to sort of find out. So that they're the sort of things we've got planned so far. Lots of others, so we've got a pile of other subjects to cover
and potential guests,
yeah. But that's what's in the pipeline, and I can't wait. Really, it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, this is a passion project, isn't it? Really, we enjoy it. If people listen, that's a bonus. If you are listening, we appreciate input.
It was never intended for people to listen to.
No,
we just wanted to record it.
Yeah. We'll probably listen back to it and go, "What the hell?" And on that bombshell, I guess shall we wind up
from us?
Yeah, good night from him.
From the unnamed podcast.
From the unnamed Any ideas on names?
As yet untitled.
As yet untitled, yeah.
Don't hold back.
Bloody idiot.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and until the next time.
Good night.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.
Good night, Toodaloo. Is that our?
Good night and toodaloo.
Should we just fade out on this rambling? So as we're just rambling away, it slowly gets quieter and quieter.
Rustle some papers. That's better.
Much better.